Authentic leadership. Authentic leadership is more than a buzzword. It's a foundational approach to leadership that blends genuineness, transparency, and ethics. Authentic leaders align what they believe with how they act. They remain consistent in communication, especially under pressure, and make decisions based on principles rather than politics. Their influence doesn't come from a title or authority. It comes from trust. These leaders deeply know themselves, a trait known as self-awareness. They demonstrate integrity by living according to their values. They build transparency in their relationships by sharing openly and honestly. And they act with a mission-driven mindset, putting purpose before personal ego. Authentic leadership doesn't require perfection. Instead, it models courage in vulnerability, humility in learning, and consistency in values. In uncertain or high-pressure environments, being real can be the greatest strength. For science and engineering grads, this means leading not just with technical skill, but with character that drives lasting results. Course objectives and overview. This course provides a comprehensive framework for becoming an authentic leader. First, you'll explore the definition and principles of authentic leadership, understanding how values, behavior, and trust intersect. Next, you'll examine the business case, why authenticity directly influences performance and how it impacts team outcomes. We'll then unpack the 4 core dimensions of authenticity: self-awareness, relational transparency, balanced processing, and internalized moral perspective. These aren't abstract ideas. They are practical competencies that shape high-impact leadership. You'll also learn actionable strategies for applying these ideas to your leadership approach, helping you build trust, drive engagement, and lead with purpose. Finally, the course ends with reflection and personal commitment. You'll be encouraged to assess your own values and behavior and identify specific areas where you can lead more authentically. The goal is not just to understand the theory of authentic leadership, but to begin practicing it intentionally in your professional journey. What is authentic leadership? Authentic leadership is grounded in being genuine, transparent, and ethical. It's a commitment to lead with integrity by aligning personal values with actions. Instead of performing a role, authentic leaders operate from a deep sense of who they are. They are self-aware, understanding their emotions, strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. They act in line with their values, which demonstrates integrity even when under pressure. Authentic leaders are open in their relationships. They speak honestly and listen with empathy. They are mission-driven, placing the team's purpose above their personal ego. Authentic leaders don't pretend to be flawless. Instead, they model courage by owning mistakes, humility by learning from feedback, and consistency by showing up with the same principles in all situations. In the technical world of engineering and science, this kind of leadership builds trust, resilience, and innovation, especially in high-stakes environments where decisions must reflect more than just logic. They must reflect character. Why authenticity matters. The business case. Authenticity isn't just a personal virtue, it's a leadership strategy with measurable business benefits. First, trust accelerates execution. When teams trust their leaders, communication improves, silos break down, and collaboration increases. People speak more openly and align more quickly, which speeds up delivery and reduces errors. Second, authenticity boosts engagement. Employees feel valued when their leaders are genuine and consistent. They show up with more energy and commitment when they know their contributions matter. Third, authentic leadership fosters innovation. When psychological safety is present, meaning people feel safe to express ideas or concerns, teams are more likely to share bold solutions and challenge assumptions. Fourth, it enhances resilience. Teams led by authentic leaders recover more quickly from setbacks because trust and mission hold them together in difficult moments. Ultimately, authenticity leads to alignment, and alignment drives results. That's why authenticity is not just a soft skill. It's a strategic advantage in any technical field. Performance impact. The impact of authentic leadership can be seen across key performance metrics. First is trust. Authentic leaders build it by being transparent, consistent, and values-driven. When trust is high, people are more open to feedback and less fearful of taking initiative. Next is engagement. Teams led by authentic leaders report higher morale, lower turnover, and stronger commitment. People work harder when they feel respected and heard. Then comes innovation. In environments where leaders are honest and vulnerable, others feel safe to take risks and share unconventional ideas. Authenticity creates psychological safety, which is the foundation of creativity. Finally, authentic leadership strengthens resilience. When setbacks occur, teams bounce back faster if they trust their leader and believe in the mission. Whether it's surviving a tight deadline or pivoting during a crisis, authenticity enables calm, clear, and courageous responses. In scientific and engineering contexts, these metrics translate directly into improved output, quality, and sustainability. 4 dimensions of authentic leadership. Authentic leadership is built on 4 key dimensions from Bill George's framework. These dimensions are not personality traits. They are habits and disciplines that any leader can develop. The first is self-awareness, understanding your own values, emotions, and impact. Without this, it's impossible to lead with consistency. The second is relational transparency, being honest and open in your relationships. This means admitting mistakes, speaking your truth, and fostering genuine connection. Third is balanced processing, the ability to objectively analyze different viewpoints before making decisions. Authentic leaders don't react impulsively. They seek out dissent, welcome diverse opinions, and make informed choices. The final dimension is internalized moral perspective, making decisions based on internal values rather than external rewards or pressure. Leaders with a strong moral compass don't sway with trends or politics. They stay grounded in what's right. Together, these 4 dimensions create the foundation of trust, resilience, and long-term leadership success. Dimension 1: self-awareness. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of authentic leadership. Leaders who understand their core values, emotional triggers, strengths, and blind spots are more grounded and effective. They don't just react, they respond with intention. Self-awareness improves emotional regulation, which is critical under pressure. It enables leaders to stay centered in stressful situations and avoid impulsive decisions. It also leads to better decision-making, as self-aware leaders understand how their biases or blind spots might influence outcomes. To build self-awareness, 3 practical tools are key. First is journaling. Regularly reflecting on how you respond to situations helps reveal behavioral patterns. Second is 360-degree feedback. Gathering insights from colleagues, team members, and mentors gives you a fuller picture of your leadership impact. Third is mindfulness. Developing present moment awareness enhances clarity and reduces emotional reactivity. As a new graduate entering high-tech industries, building self-awareness early will give you the leadership foundation to earn trust, navigate complexity, and lead effectively. Dimension 2: relational transparency. Relational transparency means leading without a mask. Authentic leaders share their thought processes openly, admit mistakes, and communicate honestly. They don't posture or pretend to have all the answers. Instead, they show their reasoning and allow others to understand their intent. One way to practice this is to share not just your decisions, but the thinking behind them. Explain how you weighed trade-offs or what data you considered. Transparency also involves admitting when you don't know something. That honesty builds credibility. Another key is to listen more than you speak. Authentic leaders are curious and open to learning from others. And importantly, they align their actions with their words, because inconsistency erodes trust. Finally, they invest in real relationships rather than transactional ones. Whether you're managing a project or working cross-functionally, Relational transparency builds a culture of mutual respect and psychological safety, critical ingredients for innovation and collaboration in science and engineering environments. Dimension 3. Balanced processing. Balanced processing is the ability to consider multiple perspectives before reaching a decision. Authentic leaders don't jump to conclusions or default to groupthink. They actively seek out dissenting views, even when those views challenge their own assumptions. Inviting open dialogue creates a more informed, inclusive, and data-driven decision-making process. One way to practice this is to intentionally delay judgment until you've heard multiple perspectives. Ask probing questions. Encourage quieter voices to speak. Use the question, "What am I missing?" as a habit to surface overlooked risks or opportunities. This is especially important in technical environments where decisions often involve complex trade-offs, such as safety, performance, cost, or timeline. Balanced processing leads to smarter, more collaborative solutions and helps leaders avoid tunnel vision. It also demonstrates respect for team members' expertise. Ultimately, this dimension creates better outcomes because it ensures that decisions are tested, refined, and aligned with both data and values. Dimension 4. Internalized moral perspective. Internalized moral perspective means staying grounded in personal values, even when external pressures push in the opposite direction. Authentic leaders make choices based on what they believe is right, not based on short-term rewards, popularity, or fear. They have a strong ethical foundation and use it to guide their actions, especially when stakes are high. For example, when facing a difficult decision, they ask, "Is this aligned with my core values?" Not just, "Is this what others expect?" They also resist pressures from peers, politics, or company culture when those pressures conflict with their principles. One practical tip is to define your leadership true north, the non-negotiable values that guide your behavior. Then, use that compass in every key decision. In fast-moving engineering and technical roles, where data and deadlines can overshadow ethics, internalized moral perspective ensures that your leadership is both principled and sustainable. Cultivating authentic leadership. Becoming an authentic leader isn't about innate traits. It's about intentionally developing key behaviors over time. There are 5 core strategies that help leaders grow into authenticity and create stronger teams. First, define your purpose. Know what drives you beyond job titles or paychecks. Second, align your values. Lead in a way that reflects your personal beliefs, especially during challenging moments. Third, embrace vulnerability. This builds trust and demonstrates strength, not weakness. Fourth, lead with empathy. See people as humans, not just roles, and prioritize their experience. Finally, commit to growth. Authentic leaders are lifelong learners who evolve through feedback and reflection. These 5 strategies form a practical framework for leading with integrity and effectiveness. In technical and scientific environments where complexity and uncertainty are common, authentic leadership helps unite teams, build resilience, and inspire performance, not just with intellect, but with emotional intelligence and character. Leadership is not just what you know, it's how you show up. Strategy 1. Define your purpose. Purpose gives authentic leaders direction, clarity, and resilience. It's not about chasing external rewards. It's about aligning with what truly matters to you. Purpose serves as a leadership compass, keeping you grounded during uncertainty and focused during pressure. Leaders driven by purpose inspire others to engage, contribute, and care. To define your purpose, start by asking reflection questions. What deeply inspires you, beyond your field or paycheck? What legacy do you want to leave? And how does your personal mission align with your company or team's goals? When your purpose connects to your work, you gain a sense of meaning that fuels energy and commitment. Whether you're leading a lab, a project, or a product launch, knowing your why brings coherence to your actions and decisions. Purpose-driven leadership doesn't mean perfection, it means staying rooted in meaning and helping others do the same, especially in high-pressure, high-stakes engineering environments. Strategy 2. Align your actions with your values. Authenticity requires alignment. When your actions match your stated values, people trust you. But when there's a gap, when leaders say one thing and do another, credibility is lost. This is especially damaging in engineering teams, where precision and consistency are vital. Trust grows when leaders consistently behave in ways that reflect what they claim to believe. That includes decisions made under pressure, when values are tested most. Authentic leaders regularly audit their behavior and ask, "Am I living the values I claim to hold?" For example, if you value collaboration, do you actively create space for others to contribute? If you believe in transparency, do you share openly, even when it's uncomfortable? Words alone are not enough. Trust is built through repeated observable action. By aligning values with behaviors consistently, you create psychological safety, inspire respect, and reinforce a culture where integrity matters. This kind of leadership drives long-term results and lasting influence. Strategy 3. Embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness. In truth, it is a powerful leadership strength. Authentic leaders embrace vulnerability by admitting mistakes, asking for help, and sharing appropriate struggles. This openness creates connection and trust. When leaders show that they don't have all the answers, it gives others permission to speak up, innovate, and contribute. Vulnerability also creates psychological safety. People feel free to take risks, fail, and learn without fear of judgment. As Brené Brown says, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. In scientific or engineering settings, where the stakes are high and the unknowns are real, leaders who can be vulnerable show confidence, not insecurity. They create cultures where honest conversations can happen and where teams support each other through challenges. Whether it's owning a failed prototype or sharing a tough decision, vulnerability models courage and authenticity, and it makes leaders more relatable, human, and ultimately more effective. Strategy 4. Lead with empathy. Empathy is at the heart of authentic leadership. It's not just about being nice, it's about deeply understanding and valuing others' perspectives and emotions. In fast-paced technical environments, it's easy to focus only on data, deadlines, and deliverables. But people want to be seen, heard, and respected. Leading with empathy starts with listening actively, not interrupting, not judging, but truly trying to understand. It also means validating others' experiences, acknowledging their emotions without minimizing them. Empathy shows up when you prioritize people over process, especially during times of stress or transition. Practical empathy fosters trust, engagement, and collaboration. It helps resolve conflict, build loyalty, and create a culture of psychological safety where innovation can thrive. As a new graduate entering a high-performance industry, developing empathy will set you apart. It enables you to lead diverse teams with respect, communicate effectively, and navigate the human side of complex technical challenges. Strategy 5. Commit to growth. Authentic leaders view growth not as a destination, but as a continuous journey. They actively seek feedback, reflect on their experiences, and constantly look for ways to improve. Growth-minded leaders don't fear discomfort. They embrace it as a signal that learning is happening. One key action is to welcome feedback, especially when it challenges your blind spots. Another is to see obstacles as opportunities. Tough situations are often the best teachers. Authentic leaders also model lifelong learning for their teams by staying curious and humble, regardless of their expertise. They take time to reflect. What did I learn from this? How can I apply it moving forward? In fast-moving scientific and engineering environments, the ability to adapt and evolve is a competitive advantage. By learning, applying, reflecting, and repeating that cycle, you create a habit of continuous development. This commitment to growth deepens your authenticity and strengthens your leadership credibility over time. Authenticity in action and overcoming barriers. We discuss practical behaviors that build trust. Authenticity in action, building trust. Authenticity becomes powerful when it's translated into daily behaviors. Trust is built not in grand gestures, but in consistent, small actions over time. One of the most important behaviors is following through on commitments, doing what you say you will do. This reliability creates safety and accountability. Providing direct, respectful feedback is another critical action. It shows that you care enough to help others improve, while preserving dignity. Authentic leaders also recognize contributions. Acknowledging effort builds motivation and signals appreciation. They listen actively, without interrupting or judging. This creates space for others to feel heard and respected. Finally, authentic leaders make team-centered decisions. They prioritize the mission and the group, not personal gain or ego. These actions stack up to form the foundation of trust. As Stephen Covey said, "Trust is the glue of life." In leadership, it's the essential element that holds relationships and results together, especially in high-performance teams. Overcoming barriers to authenticity. Authentic leadership isn't always easy. Several common barriers can hold leaders back. One is the fear of appearing weak. Leaders may hide vulnerability to protect their image, but this often creates distance and distrust. Another challenge is pressure to conform. In some organizational cultures, authenticity is discouraged in favor of fitting a mold or playing the part. That pressure can make leaders suppress who they truly are. A third barrier is the lack of role models. Without examples of authentic leadership, it can be difficult to know what authenticity looks like in action. The solution is to start small. One honest conversation, one transparent decision, one courageous act at a time. Authenticity is not a fixed destination. It's a consistent practice. By choosing integrity in daily moments, you build the muscle of authentic leadership. With time, this courage becomes your strength, enabling you to lead with conviction in even the toughest environments. Conclusion and reflection questions. The future demands leaders who are grounded, real, and principled. Authentic leadership isn't about charisma or perfection. It's about consistency, courage, and purpose. By leading from who you truly are, you inspire others to do the same. You create environments where trust thrives, potential is unlocked, and sustainable results are achieved. Now is the time to reflect. What are your 3 core leadership values? Think about how often your actions reflect those values in daily life. Where are you holding back your authenticity? Are fear or conformity limiting your leadership? And finally, how can you lead more openly and purposefully this week? Identify one specific action, whether it's a conversation, a choice, or a behavior, that will reflect your commitment to authentic leadership. This journey is yours to shape. With self-awareness, integrity, and purpose, you'll lead in a way that not only drives results, but also builds trust that lasts.